Boardinghouse, rated R. No one under 17 admitted without parent or guardian. In Horrorvision, a Coast Films release.
This is considered a real classic shot on video films. And we had seen it before a long time ago, but I think we did not see the long cut. And honestly, sometimes these director's cuts come out and I think they're not doing anybody any favors. Similar to Killing Spree, I can only imagine that added scenes just added time and just kind of kept this overstaying its welcome. Because I feel like when I first saw Boardinghouse, it wasn't as much of the boring house as it was this time around. And it was a vanity project of a guy who looked like poor man's version of Malcolm McDowell from Clockwork Orange. And he was really intent on showing off his physique. And he was in his tighty whities half the time, or a little banana hammock. Smooth as a Ken doll, this fella. No package to deliver there. But he was running around with just a little bit of coverage half the time, playing the role of, I think, some kind of rock star who was renting a house or staying at a house with a bunch of ladies. And they had one pool party after another. This movie was just a series of pool parties. And really, not enough boobs to make up for it all. Or as they began to be called after somebody's misspelling in chat, it was a night of bobs. So there were bobs all over the place throughout the evening, starting with Boardinghouse and then getting to ridiculous proportions in the later films. But Boardinghouse had some like hair vision aspect to it, reminiscent of the 60s, where it warned you that if you see this scene, this psychedelic looking scene with a close-up of a black gloved hand, look away for a moment, because then you were going to see some really grotesque stuff, which was some kind of murder scene, bloody animal parts spilling out of somebody's shirt. And I think the point was that there was some kind of supernatural poltergeist type possession in the house that was just killing people at random, and sometimes not killing them, but just frightening them. Like at the point where the gun turned far enough just to shoot behind a lady's head into the pillow, just after a guy had walked in, seen the gun, and said, "What is this gun?"
Hey, what is this gun?
And then, and there was it was also possessing people's minds, I guess, to a certain degree. And one of the ladies was in the house during a pool party and gouged her own eyes out and threw the eyeballs into a bowl of what looked like hummus or something. And then we got the comic relief of the fedora wearing drunk, whom we spent 5 whole minutes, it seemed, watching, trying to get in the door to talk to our tighty whitey wearing protagonist. There's like a whole scene where he's knocking on the door. "Can I come in?" And this guy's saying, "No, I'm going to get dressed." And he's getting dressed. And we had to watch the whole thing while the guy several times has come in. Anyways, turned out he was the drunken comic relief. He saw the eyes floating in what I think was a hummus bowl and said something like, "You're going to want to come up for breath eventually," or some bullshit like that. I think that was the whole movie might have been premised around setting up that killer joke. At the end, there was some kind of confrontation. Was somebody possessed by the demon or whatever was causing all of this? And Mr. Tighty Whitey's probably prevailed by the end. And there was a bunch of text done on like old school Commodore 64 computer font that was explaining parts of the story, and I guess trying to convince us that this was based on some kind of true story and that there's unresolved questions about these events that supposedly took place still. There weren't enough kill scenes for me. There was a lot of pool party, like I said, and some of it really, I thought, dragged. Much more so than I think with the first one I saw. There's quite a distance between when I first saw this film and seeing it now. So it might have just been my mood It might have been that I wasn't settled into movie night enough to put up with over 90 minutes. It wasn't much over 90 minutes, but it was like, I think it was a good hour and 40 minutes about. It felt like it overstayed its welcome to me, despite the fact that it did have some very entertaining elements to it.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.